Welcome
to talk about relationship, where we explore the sacred intersection of relationship and spirituality. I'm your host, Ayola Roland. In the past few weeks, I've been engaged in a number of conversations and discussions with many Christian single women on the subject of dating, relationship, and marriage. And most of the majority of the people that I spoke with asked similar questions. Questions like, how do I know if the man is right for me? How do I know if this relationship is going to work out? How do I know if this is going to lead to marriage? And in all of these questions and discussions, I realized that there is a level of clarity that is still missing from the mind of most Christian single women. And the question that begs now is, what are you really looking for? Or maybe I should ask, what are you preparing for? Are you preparing for marriage or are you preparing for relationship? I need you to take a minute and just think about that. Like, what am I really preparing for? Am I preparing for a relationship or am I preparing for marriage? I have asked the same question to different people under different circumstances and even rephrased the question in different ways. And majority of the people that respond to the same question, they provide the answer relationship. Now, in all fairness, people prepare for relationship thinking that relationship is a preparation ground for marriage. If you're listening to me right now and you also believe that relationship is a preparation ground, I don't want to use the word training ground, for marriage, then you can go ahead and drop a comment before we get to the end of this episode, as we're about to get into the meat of the discussion for the day. Now, before I continue, a little reminder that this podcast is dedicated to as many single persons looking to do relationship or marriage the Bible way. I mean, people looking for biblical wisdom and the wisdom of God to prosecute their relationship and do marriage right. The reason why I'm providing this reminder is because we're about to get into certain things that might sound very uncomfortable for most, but I need you to remain open-minded as we go through to this episode. Now, back to the question, what are you looking for? What are you preparing for? Relationship being a preparation ground for marriage in the mind of most is actually a very, very big misconception. Did you know that from the perspective of the Bible, relationship doesn't actually exist? There are three phases or three states recognized in the Bible. You're either single or you're betrothed or you're married. Those are the three states in the Bible, but that's a conversation for another day. You do not prepare for marriage in relationship. No, you prepare for marriage when you're single. I've had so many people question my teachings. For example, they say, okay, if you're not in a relationship with someone or if you're not dating them, how do you then get to the point of marriage? And I remember a lady called me out recently and she was like, oh, so are you saying you just move from friendship to marriage? How does it work? You have to date, you have to be in a relationship first. Then I asked her a very simple question. I asked her if she was currently in a relationship. She said yes, and I asked that in your current relationship, if without being physical, what do you have left? And after thinking about it for a while, she realized that that state, without all those other things, will be considered friendship. Now, if you're truly a believer with any level of conscience, you know that these things are not right. So the question now is, how do you go from being single to getting married? And that is where friendship comes to play. I've said this over and over again, but I just need you to hear me out. If without being physical, what you have in your hand is friendship, why then do Christians get into relationship and start crying about compromise? Number one, you've already put yourself in a position where you are most likely to fall into immorality. So why do you want to be in that state? This is where friendship comes in. And I keep saying this, friendship is usually more genuine than relationship. If you're listening to me right now and you've ever been in any kind of relationship before now and you compare them to your friendships, you realize that even you as a person, you're more truthful in your friendship compared to your relationship. And in some cases, it's the other way around. The person you're with is not as truthful to you as they would be with their friends. And that is why many people get into relationship time and again, and they will break up. But that one friend that they've had from years past remains. And that's because friendship is built on a different foundation. Friendship is usually very genuine and considerate. In genuine friendships, there are no lies, no deception. You're seen the way you are. You present yourself the way you are. You see the other person the way they are. They present themselves to you the way they are. There is nothing shifty about anyone. The mistake some make is they say, okay, I have to date someone first to get to know the person. And I repeat to you today that you do not get to know people when dating. No, you get to know people in friendship. Because when you're dating, you yourself, you know that during dating, you put forward your best foot. Everyone is always on their best behavior during dating phase. And that's because you're trying to win the person over. That's because you want the person to like you. So you present yourself in a certain type of way, which is not the case for friendships. Most of the friends you have today, you didn't have to do much to keep them. You didn't have to do much to win them over. For some reasons, they've been there for you and they are still there for you. Do you want to know why? The reason is because there is a level of genuineness. You know them for who they are. You know how to relate with them. They know you for who you are. They know how to relate with you. And no matter how many times you guys have problems, you guys always find a way to come back together. And that is why friendship is a great foundation for a happy married life. Because in relationship, everyone is pretending. Majority of the people in relationship, even you yourself might deceive yourself into believing that you're being yourself. But I can bet that who you are in a relationship is not the same person you are with your friends. The perspective that you present in a relationship is not the same perspective that your parents know of you. Is not the same perspective that your friends know of you. And that's because you're a different person when you get into a relationship. Now, who wants to build a marriage based on this level of pretense? Why would you want to do that? If what you're looking for is indeed marriage and not just some flimsy relationship, then you should spend more time building friendships. Relationship or dating is like having a box with a content on the inside. Now you have to caress the box for like 6 months, 5 months, 1 year for you to see what's on the inside of the box to then decide if you want to keep the box. Meanwhile, in friendship, the box is already open. You're able to see what's inside the box. And since you already know what's on the inside of the box, making decision to own the box becomes easy. Right? And this is the same thing with relationship and friendships. People build relationships 6 months, 1 year, then find out that you're not good for one another, they break up. You do that over and over again and you're wasting your life. Meanwhile, if you decide to spend more time to build friendship within 6 months, because of the level of genuineness in friendships, you already know who this person is. You're not just trying to get to know the person. You already know who they are on the inside. Now, making that decision to spend the rest of your life with such person becomes easier, thereby saving you time. Now, the other reason why you do not want to do relationship is this. The more breakups you have in relationship, the easier it is for you to go through divorce when you're married. Yes. And that's because psychologically, you're preparing yourself for a way of escape. Because every time something gets difficult, you escape. Every time it gets difficult, you leave the relationship. When you eventually get married, that is an option that remains on your subconscious. The importance of building friendships cannot be overemphasized. I say that again, the importance of friendship cannot be overemphasized. I know this concept might be strange to many, especially those that are already desperate, because I've spoken to quite a number of people as well that are in that phase of desperation, and they say things like, I do not have the time to build such friendships. I just want to get into a relationship and figure it out after that. And there remains a question that stays unanswered. Would you rather go into a relationship and find out after 12 months that you guys are not meant to be together, or would you rather spend the same time to build friendships? Listen to this. Building friendships, it's a win-win no matter how you see it. You either build a friendship that results into marriage, or you build destiny connectors. Friendship is never a miss. Either it leads into something great or it leads to something great. You can't fail with friendship. Unlike relationships, relationship would break up and leave a bad taste in your mouth. So instead of rushing and running into that relationship, looking for what's not missing, spend the time to cultivate genuine friendships. And remember, you can never lose with friendships. You can never lose with friendship. In addition to that, from my personal research, I've realized that there is nothing that you can do in relationship that cannot be done in genuine friendships. You can be friends and go out to eat. You can be friends and hang out. You can be friends and talk. The advantage friendship has over relationship is both of you are genuine. And also, friendships give you the space and liberty needed to be who you are and keep multiple friends at the same time with no strings attached, of course. So back to the original question, what are you looking for or what are you preparing for? If your answer is marriage, then you need to cultivate genuine friendships. You need to put more time, more efforts into building friends. Go to networking events, meet up with people, build genuine friendships. In genuine friendships, based on the analogy that I provided earlier, you're able to tell way ahead if this person is the kind of person you want to be with. It's like what I say to most people, that right now, if you think about 5 of your close friends, if you think about those people, you already know the kind or which of them you can spend time with. You already know who amongst your friends that you can actually be married to if it comes down to it. Now, before I bring today's episode to a close, I would like to point out a few things. The very first one is this. You do not have to believe everything that I've said on this podcast. I need you to only consider them and think about it, then pray about it. Let the Holy Spirit Himself minister to you. Secondly, I would like to invite you to join my free online community where we can have real-time conversations and Q&As directly with myself and many like-minded individuals. Thirdly, if you found value in today's episode, I would like you to share it with a friend or two. So leave a comment and kindly leave me a review as it will help others discover this episode and this podcast. Thank you very much for joining me today. I wish you all the best.